Hey, in this video I will cover cosmetic product labeling requirements in the EU. And the starting point in the Cosmetic Products Regulation is Article 19, and this is where you can find a very long list of different labeling requirements and different conditions. And what you see here in front of you is not the entirety of Article 19, but, well, just as much as I could fit on the screen, really. Let's start with the basics. So, consumer information. This must be present on the packaging, and you must include information about the responsible person, registered name and address. And this would be the importer, the manufacturer, distributor, or another designated EU entity. It must be a company entity in the EU acting as the responsible person. So that's part A. That's the first part. You need to specify the product's content by weight or volume at the time of packaging. Date of minimum durability, and you can either use symbols or words. Best used before the end of date. D concerns precautions. Now, these precautions cannot just be anything. You need to follow the precautions listed in Annex 3 to 6. And these are the annexes that concerns substance restrictions or positive lists. E, the batch number. F, cosmetic product function, and a list of ingredients. So again, you need to have a bill of substances, and that can be problematic if you're working with contract manufacturers outside the EU that are not willing to share the bill of substances. That creates issues for many different reasons, but labeling is one of those issues. In short, you need to know exactly what goes into the formula of your cosmetic product. Let's look into warnings and conditions of use. And as I said, you cannot just use any warnings or conditions of use. These are specified in Annex 3, 5, and 6. Restricted substances. These are substances that can be used for some products or cannot be used for other products. Annex 5 concerning preservatives, and Annex 6 UV filters. So some products containing certain substances must, for that reason, contain a warning or condition of use on the label. It comes down to the substances you're using. Once again, it's essential to have a bill of substances. Let me show you a couple of examples here. So these are taken from, this one is from Annex 3, this one is from Annex 5, this is from Annex 6. You can see here, well, here you can see the substance name on the left, then on the right, the annex, then we got product type, for example, rinse off products or hair waving or straightening products. And then you would need to include this warning. So in short, if you're selling a product containing this substance, it's used as a hair waving or a hair straightening product, you need to specify the warning and you need to specify the condition of use. So as such, the substance can be included in the formula, but this then triggers labeling requirements. And it's also similar on the Annex 5 and 6. Let's look into the placement. So labeling is normally applied to the container, and the label must be permanent in the sense that you would not be allowed to have some sort of temporary label or something that can be easily removed, either as a feature or by mistake. And it must also be clear, it must be visible in a way that you cannot hide the label. It must be easy to find the label, it must be easy to read the label. But this can also be filed under common sense. The second part concerns size. Well, basically, when you have a cosmetic product packaging that is very small, and in this case, the regulation states that you can apply it on an attached card, a label, a leaflet, tag, tape, and so on. But only under the condition that the packaging it simply doesn't have adequate space to print the label, to attach a permanent label. Another key concept when it comes to cosmetics product regulation, to cosmetics labeling requirements in the EU is that of product claims. And to find this, we had to look outside of the regulation itself, and we found this annex. Now, in short, this annex provides a list of principles to which you must adhere when it comes to cosmetics labeling. One, well, the first part is legal compliance. Then you have truthfulness, that if you include certain ingredients, then it has to be in the cosmetic product, or also vice versa. Something that you can see these days is that certain cosmetic products are advertised as being phthalate free or paraben free, for example. That must, of course, be the case if you make that claim. Evidential support. This would mean that the product must be tested, that you make a certain claim about properties, about effects, then that must be documented. You cannot just take something from the air and make claims without any form of testing or any data that supports this claim. Honesty, fairness, informed decision making. These are three other principles. But in short, you want to go into details, you can find this in Annex of Regulation EU number 655 2013. Labeling requirements can also be found under the Aerosol Dispenser Directive. This is often associated with cosmetic product regulation in the sense that well, these containers are usually used for cosmetics, or at least in many cases, like hairspray and so on. The GPSR, or the General Product Safety Regulation, is not applicable specifically to cosmetics, but apply broadly to all types of consumer products sold in the EU. And you will also find provisions concerning uh, labeling requirements, product information, company information, traceability, and so on. I do believe there's a lot of overlap, though, but you should also take a look at the GPSR. Okay, that's everything I have to say about cosmetics labeling requirements in the EU. You can also find more guides related to this topic on compliancegate.com.